Hey there. Welcome to the Pine Island Experience podcast. I'm Joanna Anderson with my husband, Trygve. Each of our episodes will be conversations with fellow Pine Islanders.
The goal of our podcast is to share with you our experiences, what we have found to be fun, and what makes the Pine Island Experience so unique.
What I love is, so we do the specials every weekend. And that's a big thing for me. I don't mind prepping and cooking the same menu every day, but I love different stuff. And most weekends, what you get almost directly relates to where I am in my head. Last week, it was chicken parm and chicken pesto, just cutlet sandwiches, and wanted chicken parm. It's comfort food for me. So I made a bunch of chicken cutlets and made some marinara, and we had chicken parm sandwiches that weekend. I was able to source some fresh snapper a couple of weeks ago. So I get to do fresh snapper tacos and just different stuff. That is the best part of my week. And I have no clue what we're doing this weekend. So that'll be my afternoon today. What are we doing this weekend? Who knows? Yeah, it's going to be a surprise for everyone.
That's Chef Anthony Pospiech, the creative spirit behind Island Girl Eats at Pineland Marina in Bokeelia. Open 7 days a week from sunrise to sunset, this vibrant food truck, an extra-large tiki hut, has quickly become a favorite for both locals and visitors. You can hear the passion in his voice, his love for great food, for his team, and for his island community. Every weekend, he brings something new to the table, always inspired, always from the heart. And now, here's Chef Anthony. Chef Anthony Pospiech is with us today from the Island Girl Eats, brand new, lovely restaurant, food truck over in Pineland Marina. We adored the food we had out there at your restaurant, and that was a few months ago. So anxious to talk to you about it, how it's coming, and just congratulations on what you built out there.
Well, we're still building. It's going to take the grand plan, probably a year or two. Slowly, patiently, we want to build something special.
Very methodical of you.
Correct. And I'm not the most patient person. So this has been quite an experience. Even just getting the truck open and getting licensed and all of that, I learned a lot in a short amount of time. So thanks for having me.
Sure. So we'll talk about your background first, where you were born, grew up, where you went to school, how you up until how you came to Pine Island. You could fill us in.
Quite a journey. I grew up right outside the Philadelphia area in the suburbs there. Pretty much the day I graduated high school, I moved down to the beach in Jersey for the summer and then started what was quite a journey of bouncing around. I was a nomad for a long time. And I met my business partner in 2010 at him and his brother's pizza shops in Avalon, New Jersey. I was their delivery boy. I was 20 years old. I was going into my junior year at Penn State. And then actually that year, I decided to leave school and fell in love with the pizza business. So I went back another summer and then went back. He jokes around that I just kind of found them and I never left, but they taught me how to make pizza, how to cook, how to work a grill. And then over the course of about 15 years, I was all over the place. So he and his wife had opened their restaurant down here in 2016. So then I was able to do winters down here and summers up north at the pizza shop with the guys up there still. So I got to live the snowbird lifestyle for a little bit. Actually, today, ironically enough, I have been a full-time resident here for 2 years. So, yeah, I settled back in October of 2023, and here we are.
Wow.
So, yeah, I caddied for a little bit in between there at a couple of good clubs in Philadelphia, and then a couple seasons in Palm Beach. So I was on the other side of the state for a little bit. The opportunity for the truck came up. So it was August of 24.
Mm-hmm.
And my buddy called me up and he said, hey, you want to open a food truck? And I wasn't really into the idea. I've never eaten on a food truck. I didn't know anything about them. He said, I think you should come check this spot out. So we went to the marina. And then, of course, you get there and see how beautiful it is. And here we are, right over 6 months.
You said the Jersey Beach. I believe it's the Jersey Shore, correct?
Yes, yeah.
Or are you just being more generic for people?
Yeah, I keep it simple. It's how I talk here and how I talk when I'm in that area actually is, I used to tell people I have different boxes in my trunk with different lives marked on it. And, one was Philadelphia, one was South Jersey, one was West Palm, one was Cape Coral. And, it's different groups of people, different jobs. And yeah, you got to play to your audience.
We went on vacation one time and something came up. Some weekends we go to the shore and they looked at us like we were insane. We are like, got to translate. That's a very Jersey, Pennsylvania term.
And my parents spend most of the summer in Bethany Beach, Delaware.
Okay.
And if you're going to Bethany, you're going to the beach for the weekend. If you're going to Avalon or Wildwood or Cape May, you're going to the shore.
So you have to translate all the time.
Yeah. That was a big part of my life for a long time. I did a lot of summers in Avalon and I had a lot of fun.
So how you found Pine Island was really about your partner, then,
yes.
Finding the food truck. Okay.
Yeah, that's
Had you been
funny.
here before?
Out here?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I had lived in Cape. I moved to Cape for the first time in 2016, 2017, somewhere around there. And then that was, a couple seasons here, then back up north, and I'd be in South Jersey, or I'd be caddying in Philadelphia for the summer. And then I ended up over in West Palm Beach and I was caddying over there. And then, another year I wanted to cook again. So I'd call Mike up and be like, hey, do you need any help? And now we're finally settled. So, and I'm happy to be settled. I wanted to settle. There was probably 2-3 years before I did finally make the full-time switch where I wanted to be here and life just would not allow it. So it is really nice to finally be settled and build a network. And I've got some really great friends that are very supportive. And yeah.
Nice.
So you alluded to this a little bit. So from being shown the location and there's this food truck opportunity, that to opening, kind of give us a high level view of what's that like to get a restaurant open and the processes and the possible remodelings, et cetera.
So I think it was August 28th, give or take a day right before Labor Day. We didn't open until March 28th. And originally it was, we could probably get this done by mid-October. Or, then Milton blew through. So the marina lost a bunch of their docks and this and that. And, everybody knows we'd love a beer and wine bar up there, but there's a lot of hurdles to jump. So we were looking at opening the truck and getting the bar and everything together at the same time. And then, it was one hurdle after another. It finally got to the point where I kind of threw my hands up and I looked at my buddy and I was like, we need to start selling food. So then even I had left my past job on January 18th, thinking we would be open end of January, early February. And then, we had to get licensed. We had to do this. We had to do that. We had one truck lined up that actually a friend of mine has. Then we realized it was 36 feet. So we get out there, do a little measuring. Like, this is never going to fit here. So we found the little trailer and made it a home. 5-6 months almost.
So then you open up. That's got to be an experience unto itself. What you thought was going to happen, what you thought you needed versus what you really needed. Kind of what's that first couple weeks like?
They were a little stressful. I have a great staff, which makes things easier. All people I've worked with before, so that makes things easier. But also, for a lot of summers in Jersey, we opened mid-May, we closed mid-September. So I have the unique skill of knowing how to get an order in, get prepped, get the restaurant open, and just start rolling. And, you budget 2-3 days, maybe it's 3 or 4. We wanted to open Thursday afternoon. We opened on a Friday afternoon. But once we got going, you just go. Look forward and keep your feet moving. And my parents came, I think, weekend number 2. Which I really appreciated. But, my mom's in the window. What can I help you with? And Mom, I just need time and space. That's what I said to her. I said, I just need time and space, please. And, you trip on something. I spilled fryer oil one day when I was changing the fryer and it was everywhere. And it's, always at the most inconvenient time. And then after a couple of weeks, you just realize the stress sort of goes away. And it's a great operation. And the greatest thing in the world, and actually I can sort of transition into how supportive the community has been, because I had planned on ferry traffic, the boat ramp, but the local community got us through the summer. Everybody comes up on their golf carts and their bikes and checks in and buys food and hangs out. Everyone says, dude, you're on island time. You know, if they got to wait 20 minutes for a sandwich, nobody seems to mind. And that is such a relief of pressure. It's like I said, I'm crazy about the food. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I won't give you something that I wouldn't eat myself. And then Matthew, my right-hand man, he is, I would almost say, just as crazy as I am. Even when we were talking about hiring, he was like, we need to get somebody that won't mess with our stuff, that gets the way we do it. And I'd rather sacrifice 5 minutes and give you a great meal than get it out quickly and you're just unimpressed. Because that's, you know, the view's great, but I want the food to be great too.
Well, that's why you're chef, Anthony.
Mm-hmm. And the funniest, I guess you could say, review we've gotten, you know, people come up and they're from wherever, they're getting on the ferry. It looks like a tourist trap. They're like, I got to tell you, we really didn't expect much. And you blew us out of the water. At first, I didn't know how to take it. And I was like, oh, thanks. It's like if your mom makes a backhanded comment, you're like, I don't know if that was nice or not. But then I realized when somebody else said it in a different tone, they're like, wow, you really surprised us. So we're actually starting a full breakfast menu on Sunday. I don't know when this is going to air, but yeah, starting Sunday morning, we will be doing a full breakfast daily until 11 o'clock. So that's exciting. This sort of timed out perfectly for that. And the morning's the best time. You know, that's if you like to sleep and you can't sleep. That's probably one of my biggest clienteles on weekday mornings is guy just comes up, walking the dog, wants a cup of coffee, hang out, maybe have a sandwich, maybe don't. Because I think everybody knows it's a community spot. You come up and hang out, I'm not going to make sure you buy a sandwich. That's not what we're about.
Well, I imagine you have a lot of regulars already.
Yes.
Yeah.
Know a lot of names. I like that. Grew up in a very close family. They're all 1,200 miles away. So it's nice to have people you know and support and talk to. And even how many people are like, well, if you're working late and you're stuck, come stay at the house, and just inviting you right into their home. You know, if there's a hurricane and you need to move the trailer, we're dry, park it here. We've got dry storage. We have this. And that's been great.
It's very welcoming community.
It is. I thought it would be the opposite. I was a little nervous at first, and I know, there's establishments that have been here a long time. We're not out to shake up anybody's business or compete. I like to cook. I want to sell my food. But how accommodating the neighborhood was right off the bat was just a total surprise.
So you talked about having to kind of rethink the trailer just because of the space. How much was there and how much have you two added as part of, kind of creating the experience beyond just the food?
Well, that would be my buddy, Mike. He has an eye for that stuff. So, like I said, not only did him and his brothers teach me how to cook, but if you're on that tiki, the lighting, the chairs, the tables, he finds all of that stuff. You'd be on a folding chair with paper plates, and it's just, that's not me. I have no eye for that. I don't do design. I like to cook. And people see the whole experience and they do see my face, but it is not just my face. There is a lot behind that. Him and his wife are pretty much the best partners you could ask for.
And you start talking about the experience with pizza and kind of fell in love with the pizza. How or when did it move into actually creating other kinds of food and to get into chefing, for lack of a better phrase?
I would say obsession. I like to host dinner parties, open up the doors, have people over, cook for 8, 10, 12 people. This would be more up north where I did this with my very close friends. And I can't tell you, how many YouTube videos I watch. I didn't go to culinary school. I didn't do any of that. I just got obsessed. So I would see something and I would want to cook something. You call up 10 people and you're like, hey, I'm doing a prime rib this week. And while I'm doing certain things, it's like, we might be ordering pizza tonight. I might mess this up. And then, prime rib goes well. You start watching other videos and you want to test yourself a little more and test yourself a little more. And eventually, like I said, it just became an obsession. And it's recently, I was thinking about this in the shower this morning, coming over here. when I get hooked on something, probably in the past 6 weeks, I have either grilled off, a New York strip or a ribeye over charcoal the way I like it, and did a bunch of different risottos. And every week I want the risotto better. Maybe this combination of vegetable and cheese will work better. And last summer it was ribs. I think the neighbor saw me outside floating in the pool with the smoker going almost 6 weeks in a row. And, 1 week it's baby backs, and then it's St. Louis, and then it's the full spare, and it's trying different ways to get stuff done, which if you're the person in my life at that time, it can get a little monotonous. Oh, we're having ribs again, or yeah, the steak's great, but you really need steak and risotto again. I made it last night, and strip loin's on sale at Publix right now, so I cut that in half. I have a little risotto left over, and probably in about 5 hours, I will be out back of my house with a cocktail and the fire going, making another steak.
Well, you're just practicing your craft, right?
And it's just my favorite thing to do. Music, a cocktail, and a live fire going in the backyard. It doesn't get much better than that for me. It's the beauty of Florida. I can cook outside all year. And I've done it in the winter up north, but it's not the same.
So, no, you can do it all year here.
Yeah. I fit here. Yeah.
Meant to be.
Mm-hmm.
I know the menu, you were working on that, because when we first talked to you about coming out here, you said you wanted to perfect the menu.
Mm.
And although I read, if you just go to Facebook reviews, they're amazing.
Yeah.
You perfected your menu already when they're listing all these wonderful foods that you offer.
Yeah. And what I love is, so we do the specials every weekend. And that's a big thing for me. I don't mind prepping and cooking the same menu every day, but I love different stuff. And most weekends, what you get almost directly relates to where I am in my head. Last week, it was chicken parm and chicken pesto, just cutlet sandwiches, and wanted chicken parm. It's comfort food for me. So I made a bunch of chicken cutlets and made some marinara, and we had chicken parm sandwiches that weekend. I was able to source some fresh snapper a couple of weeks ago. So I get to do fresh snapper tacos and just different stuff. That is the best part of my week. And I have no clue what we're doing this weekend. So that'll be my afternoon today.
Yeah, I was going to say.
What are we doing this weekend? Who knows? Yeah, it's going to be a surprise for everyone.
Can you tell us some of the popular ones right now besides the specials? I know always order the special. That's what my friends have always told me in restaurants. That's what the chef wants to cook.
Yes.
So
I love when people walk up on Friday afternoon and say, what do we have this weekend? They don't want to see the menu. They don't want to know what's going on. They know the specials just came out for the weekend. The pulled pork sandwich is really good. We make our gold barbecue sauce. We smoke our pork. We make our coleslaw. It's a perfect combo. And it's a bulletproof sandwich that never gets old. I don't ever like Cubans when I go to restaurants. So I put together what I call the Americano Cubano. And it's, we make our own little spicy mustard. We use our smoked pork instead of a mojo style pork. And it really is just super American way to put the sandwich together. But everybody seems to really like it. And that's the part that always gets me. Man, I don't know if that was even a Cuban, but it was delicious. Perfect. That's what I wanted you to say. The Reuben, which, the one newspaper, the news press, read a nice little review for us, and I made her a Reuben. I fought that all the way up until closing time. I don't want to do a Reuben. I don't want to do a Reuben. I don't want to do a Reuben. And then I called my buddy up probably 2-3 days before we put our first order in. It's like, what if we smoke our own pastrami? And we, not just your standard corned beef Reuben, but we'll get the pickled briskets in and we'll smoke them and we'll make a pastrami. And everybody loved it. And it's just great. And that took me all summer. It wasn't until 3 weeks ago where I was finally like, yo, it's done. We got it right. Yeah. And my buddy eats and he's like, yeah, that's it. That's how long it takes.
The Reubens here are like grouper Reubens.
That seafood, is popular. Yeah. I know that. People use mahi, which I will do. If I'm not busy, that's my rule. If I'm not busy, I'll do anything for you I can.
Wow.
If I am busy, please stick to what we have.
Some other time.
Yeah. Or, I love to chat. I do. I love to talk to people. I like when sometimes people order and we talk for 10 minutes before I even make their food or they go sit down. But they also know, this past Saturday, we finally saw a lot of life. And some of the local ladies came up that have just been, they are, top 5 customers. They're great. They're giving me a little hard time through the window. And I don't ever mean to be rude. I'm like, I can't do it right now. I'm sorry. And, There is a chain of command when you are busy. So if I am flipping a hamburger right now, in my head, I'm 6 steps ahead and my hands and feet have to know exactly where to be. And I am mentally sensitive in the sense where if you shake that process, the whole ship's going under. And then I got to reset. And then your sandwiches take 30 minutes. And it happens. I had a 30-minute ticket time on Saturday and I'm mortified. And that was, the lady who came up, who comes every weekend to see the specials. Yeah. We're here. We're coming back. 30 minutes is 30 minutes. Yeah, my kids were hungry, but look, they ate it all that, and that I appreciate that.
And island time, they told you.
Yeah, that's the greatest luxury anyone could have in the restaurant industry. That and good neighbors. And we got both. Because I always tell people, what's the best key to success? Up north, we had a lady in the shopping center that had a Mexican restaurant. Having a neighbor that hey, I need lettuce, I need tomatoes, throw this on my order if you don't mind because I'm not getting an order. And when we were opening out here, I realized that we're all alone. So that the luxury I always had, I don't have anymore. But even like I said, not only people, hey, come spend the night, but if you ever need anything, give me a call. I'm around, not doing much. I'll run to the store for you. I'll do this, I'll do that. And it's nice to know you're never really in a pinch.
I noticed you're doing catering too. I don't know. How do you do that on top of what you're doing now?
That gets complicated. Couple weeks, 6 weeks, 7 weeks. We have a party for about 70 people. Physically have to be on that site, set up and ready to go. I think like 2:30 in the afternoon. My right-hand man also has a soap company. I don't know if you saw the bug spray we sell.
I did.
With the Coastal Salt Soap Company. He is in his soap season right now. So he's at different markets every weekend. So in November, we have a day where he's at the market. I have to be at a catering at 2:00. So that's where I got to call my buddy. And I'm like, you got to be prepared to handle the truck that day. I have a friend in Jersey I might call just to come down for the weekend that knows our menu and knows how to work. And I might bring him down for the weekend just to work. But same thing, just as important as your neighbors are, having people you can call sometimes just for a hand or a little bit of help. It's the only way it gets done. Yeah.
You're right around the corner. Yourself. Why not? I think we met your friend from Jersey that one time we were there.
Yes,
he was working. Red.
So he went home for a little bit during our slow season, and that's where I might have to call him to at least come work a weekend.
Looks like he enjoyed it.
It's a great spot. I mean, we have fun. If you're not laughing and you're not having a good time, the work is actually unbearable. What I do, it's not glamorous. There are parts of it that are miserable, parts of it that are boring, but it's what I love. To do some yard work Sunday. Oh, to me, that's the worst thing in the world. But for other people, they're outside and they're passionate about it. Elbow deep in used beef tallow some days, and I don't mind. Other people be like, that's disgusting. It's, we all have our stuff. But we do. We have fun.
Speaking of fun, you have entertainment. You have music.
Probably starting November 8th on Saturdays. Again, we did it up until about 4th of July. And then it got quiet. So we adjusted. And I think it's the 8th. I don't know the exact date, but we're going to start music again soon. We got the full breakfast menu starting soon. We will continue our weekend specials.
You might have art workshops once in a while.
Yes, with a lady I believe you interviewed.
Yes, Julie Gilson. She's a teaching artist.
Yeah, and I think same thing, November, we'll probably get that going again.
People love it.
Yeah, that's where Facebook and Instagram really come in handy. You can just reach a group of people. If she does a class, same thing, she's bringing wine. You can bring your wine with you, or, I don't care if you buy a sandwich. I'm just happy people are up there and using it. And, we're going to make our money, but that's not, I'm happy to have somewhere to go every day. It's, me doing what I like to do.
You talked about being a process. Are there other things that you're planning to discuss now, or is everything kind of a little not fully baked enough?
That's a good way to put it.
See what I did there?
You took the words right out of my mouth. I just keep telling people, keep an eye on us. This is step one of what could be a bigger process. If it never gets bigger, that's fine. But, we want a beer and wine bar, but we also won't do it without the proper paperwork and all that stuff, and everything is going to take time, and it's fine.
Seems like restaurants have to kind of evolve a little bit too. I mean, you've got probably favorites that people expect you to have, but on the other hand, do you run the risk of people saying, looking at the menu potentially saying, well, it's the same old stuff. Now I think you probably mitigate that with specials.
Yes. I'm the person that says I can't stand the same old stuff. And that's why, we made the menu as diverse as we could while keeping it as simple as we could and utilizing the limited amount of space we had. That was the hardest part with the menu, was space. Even when we were talking about the breakfast menu now, what do we have to add? Where can we put it? It has to, and even where you put what in the refrigerator as far as the health department goes, it all has to be in its place. Yeah, and we will, we'll keep doing the specials. Keep it as fresh as we can. I also take requests.
Cool.
Yeah.
And about how much space, for somebody that's never worked in a food truck, how much space do you have? And maybe just a brief list of the equipment just to give us an idea of what it takes to run a food truck.
I could guarantee you we're the only food truck that has a 60-inch flat top in it. And getting that on there was a nightmare. But that is, again, where my buddy Mike comes in. We purchased this food truck. It had, XYZ for equipment. It was 2 fryers, 36-inch flat top, a 4-burner stove, and an oven. Where I would have just made it work because my brain doesn't problem solve like that. It's no, this needs to come out. We need to add this. We need this grill. The grill is the key. People always ask, how do you get this done? My cooking surface is this big. It's 5 feet across. And that's
enormous.
Yeah. And then we have our chef's table underneath. So right under the flat top, I have 4 drawers with everything I need right in it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And then, we added a fridge and we did this, but you can't block your hand washing sink. And it's a really delicate process, but yeah, we got it done.
Did Mike also design all the furniture and how did you get those tables done?
So if you look at our Facebook, there's a lady that works with epoxy that did those. I don't know how he found her. He's scrolling Facebook.
They're beautiful.
And that. The tables are gorgeous. A guy that deals in restaurant equipment who is friends with Mike called him up, knew what he was doing, and was like, you got to see this stuff I got. And we probably had the chairs for 2 months before we even opened, but yes, we're going to need it. So he gets it. And that's all those little things are the difference maker in this business. Every little detail matters. That's like I said, I am only a part of making a whole here.
So we've kind of alluded to it. Where exactly are you located?
Pineland Marina, 13921 Waterfront Drive, Bokeelia, Florida, 33922. So
and do you have phone, email, etc.?
We have a phone. It is currently my personal cell phone, which we advertise. So you can call or text me at any time. As do a lot of scammers. So we're going to work on getting an actual phone number soon. But for the time being, if you go on our Facebook or Instagram, Yelp, Toast website, because Toast is our POS system, there's a lot of different ways to get a hold of us. And like I said,
well, the online ordering looks fabulous.
It's great.
It has your menu and they said, and they're going to pick it up in 15 minutes. Really?
It's funny. I'll get a text. Hey, from a worker that's going out to the island. I'm on my way. Can you have this ready for me? And then even the phone number, the reason I wanted it to be my number that I could access it all the time is actually catering. We don't have a catering menu. Any job we do for catering is going to be personal because, what I can offer, what most people can't. If you want penny vodka and pulled pork or brisket, or, you want a barbecue station and pasta and you want this for the kids, why can't we? I'll do whatever you want, within reason. If I can get it done, I will get it done.
And then what kind of hours are you operating with right now?
Right now, basically sunrise to sunset. So it is getting a little earlier every day, but we get that little pop for sunset. People grab dinner, they sit down, and it's almost like the flip of a light switch. You get all the orders out, the sun goes down, you start cleaning up, you turn around, it's pitch black and everyone's gone. And yeah, but we're sunrise to sunset 7 days a week. And I don't know what's going to happen from there. We're really just
play by ear.
Yeah. Pretty much if the sun's up, we're there.
7 days a week, right?
7 days a week.
Wow. Well, we so appreciate you coming out here. I know how busy you are, but
no, this was a treat. Yeah, I appreciate you getting the word out for us.
Sure. And you got to do your own podcast now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And you sound lovely. So thank you. People are going to enjoy
if
this.
The truck goes under, radio jobs.
Absolutely.
Just pick another tough industry.
We hope you enjoyed our Pine Island Experience podcast. If you have any ideas for us, people to interview, or any comments, please feel free to email them to us at pineislandexperience@gmail.com. That's pineislandexperience, all one word, @gmail.com. Don't forget to like us, and you may subscribe to this podcast using all the major catchers like Apple iTunes, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. Thanks again for listening, and remember, island life is a constant vacation. We'll see you on the next podcast.